Welcome back in, everybody, from that very, very short break. We should be getting into pick and bans very, very soon here. Like we said earlier, we should be expecting UBC to take away that bind from the side of CSULB. It has been their most dominant map by far, 4-1 in their last 5. I think only dropping 7 rounds at most in all of those matches. So not just winning it outright and with authority. What is going to be on the table for UBC to try to find some momentum or get that comfort pick that they really need to take out CSULB?
Yeah, and I think on the flip side, Haven is sort of the opposite end of the spectrum where both of these teams are very confident on it, but specifically CSULB are sort of in their wheelhouse in that regard. So I'm curious to see if we get those two maps taken off of the table. And the main thing for us is we sort of have this collegiate esports standard maps. We always see these maps come through: the Bind, the Haven, the Ascent. I want to see if we see none of those maps. I would be very curious to see if we get. I think Ascent is the most likely to come through. Both of these teams have shown that they have a little bit of a preference to it. But realistically, if that Bind's already taken off the table, the Haven very likely to go as well. We might get ourselves a little bit of a spicy one with, an Icebox, Fracture, Pearl being multiple of those maps. So overall, I just want to see what the map pick bans are, to be honest.
I know, I'm so excited. Yeah, I think personally, I would love to see an Icebox. I feel like I'd never get to see any of it, even since launch. It feels like Icebox, especially, is one of those maps you either love it and you have a great strategy for it, or you kind of get rolled out they kind of roll out the carpet on you. But it's a map that I think has so much versatility. They made those changes several months back at this point, trying to expand some of these sites, open up a couple of different plays that could possibly be made. Then you can see agents we don't always see, like that Killjoy besides Ascent. We see the Sage. Sage has fallen so far out of the meta, it seems, at times. So Sage, it would be very, very nice to see those default setups back on Icebox. Icebox, one of my personal favorites. I would love to see Fracture or Pearl as well. Breeze, not as big of a fan of, but it definitely has its place. But personally, Fracture, Icebox, probably the two I would love to see the most.
Yeah, and I think especially with Breeze, I mean, there's a reason why it's sort of going off into the wilderness there alongside Bind with the update there. And, this could be sort of the last hurrah for Breeze as well. I think realistically, it's one of those maps where you can really skill check your opponents. But when you're at this level, when both of the teams are as skilled as this, you better have your aim on point there. But once again, it all comes down to strategy. It all comes down to comfort at the end of the day, and all about sort of the map strategies in that. So once again, should have those map pick and bans coming through shortly here, and it'll be very curious to see what these teams want to let through. But I mean, if we just take a step back as well from just looking at this tournament as a whole, all these teams at this point are so skilled. There's just such minute differences that come across in these two teams, and I think at this point, it's really hard to know what to expect until we actually get into the game here. So I'm just so excited to see what these teams have.
I know. Valorant also is like that one game. We talk about it all the time when we do other broadcasting together. It seems like a team will win 13-2 on a map, on somebody else's map choice. Then they finally get over to their map pick and map 2, and they get the doors blown off them like 13-4. So sometimes, even when things seem to make sense on paper, they just don't seem to add up in the real world. And especially coming down to the nitty-gritty of this bracket, being this top 6, trying to get eventually to qualify for that LAN, there's going to be a lot of pressure on all of these players. So maybe mistakes can maybe be a little more heightened here. You don't really have quite as much room for error. And both these teams, they have to be feeling some weight of that pressure. While they're here, they're ready for the moment. There's always going to be that little doubt in the back of your mind that you have to try to quell as best as possible, knowing, hey, this could potentially be my last series playing in this tournament. And for some players that may be graduating or other things like that, could potentially be their last series overall.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is if we look at the overall scope of CVAL, you want to get that first or second seed early on there. While you can still participate in the second and third tournaments, you want to just get your lock, and you want to be able to sort of experiment with new players. You want to experiment with rosters further down the line. Maybe just try and win all 3 of them and be that juggernaut in your region or whatever. But nonetheless, for now, it really depends on who can get through today. You get through today, you get through tomorrow, you're going to be going on to the final weekend, and that's
there
really
we are,
what we're
Adam.
looking at. But here we have the maps come through, and almost as expected, we're going to get the Ascent and the Haven, but the Breeze is sort of that switch up there. I'm very interested to see that come through, especially since it does seem to be CSULB picking that one up, and it's Ascent getting picked up by UBC. So seems as if UBC feel like they've got the better strategies on Ascent, but it does mean that specifically for Blissful Deer, we're going to see that Killjoy at least once here, and I'm excited to see that one just because of what we've heard of it.
Yeah, and the Killjoy lineups on Ascent, it's one of those tried and true agents. She's been so consistently strong on Ascent the entire time. Of course, so we expected to see that bind ban coming through. CSULB's actually CSULB going to end up banning away the bind. So maybe thinking that UBC had some kind of plan for it, or thinking otherwise of that, definitely going to be a surprise. But Ascent and Breeze, we're already going to see a deviation from that collegiate standard. Haven, of course, going to be on that back end as well. Haven, a map that, and these are okay. At least Ascent and Haven, two teams that should be extremely familiar with both of these maps. Not really an excuse. Ascent, maybe not quite as common, but it still ends up being in that tail end of that typical 3 we usually see. Haven, pretty standard fare as far as things go. And Breeze, that's going to be the decider. That's going to be the interesting one, as you said. That one's a lot about skill checking and ego peaking, and which team kind of, who wants to really try to bring that operator to light and try to make those pop-off plays. But Breeze, definitely going to be a nice variation. Breeze usually delivers on exciting matches.
Yeah, and looking at actually the side selects here, we just have this information on the side. It's UBC starting on defense on Ascent, so they really want to take away some of that power that Blissful Deer would have on the Killjoy, especially if you expect that coming in. You want to take away as many rounds as possible from that Killjoy potentially coming through. If you can have yourself a very strong defensive half and you're able to push through on attack, just need 4 or 5 rounds on attack to sort of close out your map, you're going to be in good shape, especially against a Killjoy when you're going up against a specialist like Blissful Deer. But then on the flip side, CSULB picking defense on Breeze for themselves here. So that's a little bit more off the wall there. Breeze is one of those maps where, once again, it really comes down to if you have the strategies or not. You can really tell if a team has practiced on Breeze or not just by virtue of if they're going, 9-3, 10-2.5, and really sort of snowballing the game. I think Breeze is one of those maps where it's either goes to triple, quadruple overtime, or it's like a 13-2.
Yeah, Breeze is very, very similar to kind of like Fracture and even Icebox to a lesser degree, because Icebox has been around for a good while at this point. A lot of these teams, you nailed it perfectly. You can either tell they've played it a lot, or you can tell they have not really scrimmed it that often. You can very easily see the game planning is especially going to be huge. Breeze, while you're going to have those ego long peeking angles, there's so much area to show off that skill, especially in that middle area. There's so much ways to create space for yourself, create these kind of weird off angles. We have seen some insane plays come through the last couple weeks of action. And then, of course, Icebox and Fracture as well. Two of those maps, you can get very easily lost in the sauce. Things can go very, very wrong for you very quickly. It's going to come down to which team's going to bust out that better game plan. Breeze, starting on defense, definitely going to be an interesting take. We see, I think, usually attacking side going to be preferred, but ultimately, if two teams haven't really scrimmed it a ton, or they're not exactly sure, okay, we know we're a defensive stalwart on Breeze, they might just be willing to take that attacking side or vice versa and try to play it out that way instead.
And the main thing about Breeze is that teams seem to love A site overall. You just push that over and over and over again. And then if you have a Viper ult or something, or if you have a bunch of ultimates, you'll go B and you'll switch it up at that point. But it's really based on the ultimate econ at that. And I just want to see how Breeze plays out, because it's one of those maps that, even for us casting, we don't get to see a whole lot of it. And, Vipers are going to be aplenty on that one. I'm curious to see if Cypher gets picked up on some of these maps as well. I don't think it's going to be so much so on Ascent, but maybe on Breeze, they've got some lineups coming through. That's going to be where it comes down to.
Yeah, I could potentially see the Cypher play come out, especially after the last update. I know in one of the CVAL streams before, we saw some pretty goofy Cypher lineups. That tripwire can go all type of way, all type of different directions now, especially with that length increase. So Cypher, I think, definitely going to have more of a place in the meta. And I mean, I guess we'll go over it quickly since we're not, it's going to be in a couple weeks though. This game is going to get shaken up on a massive level. Everybody, I'm sure, has seen RIP to the Chambermain's Chamber, going to go through the wood chipper in a couple days or next week or so. And they're making, I believe, 9 or 10 different agent changes. So while these teams are maybe going to have these set strategies now, things are going to slowly start to change the tides of Valorant, and it's going to be very interesting to see how teams are going to start to adapt, or maybe start to forward think and try stuff now to get ready for it later.
And while not necessarily relevant for exactly today, it's interesting to see what growth that'll have in the future. Maybe if you've got a super cracked Chamber player, you want to win this one because you're like, Chamber's going to be he's going to be working at McDonald's next time we come around. He's going to be wearing the good old golden arches hat, serving McDoubles and everything instead of serving up a whole bunch of kills. So we just look at some of these players, and every single team, we look down the list, Chamber player. It's a role at this point. You've got your Sentinel, you've got your Duelist, you've got your Initiator, you've got your all that stuff. And then you have your Chamber player at that who just fulfills so many roles, and being able to take that out, probably will still pop up realistically. I've seen some people still think, it's better on attack now. You can put down 1 TP, you can do all that stuff. I don't know if it's a whole bunch of copium at that point, but it's really difficult to tell how the meta is going to shift with especially with all the ultimate changes as well. Breach ult going to be an 8 point, same with the Viper ult. Just so many changes overall.
Yeah, luckily for these players, they're not going to get hit with that league preseason patch where they're going to turn the game on its head right before this massive tournament. They're going to have a little bit of time to try to figure this stuff out, but they're going to say they're going to have to work through all those problems. They're going to have to try to figure that out. Luckily for today, though, all the chamber mains, you're going to be safe. Don't go handing out resumes just yet. That's still going to be on the table. And as you said, some of the best players in this tournament, you go down the line, going to be a whole bunch of chambers. That's why it's always nice to see kind of these variety picks, or somebody like Blissful Deer we talked about earlier, who can play that chamber primarily, but has the ability to switch on to that Killjoy. It's going to be a very fascinating thing to see what players are going to be able to make that adjustment, what want to make that adjustment, because realistically, in a lot of games, we see even if somebody falls out of the meta, guess what? They're going to end up falling apart, or even if the champ falls apart, rather, they're getting the one tricks, they will always find a way to pilot that hero or that agent and make it work to the best of its ability. Going to be very, very interesting to see, though. Should be hopefully getting into game one here soon enough. Both these teams, I'm sure, are waiting. The pressure just slowly building on these teams' shoulders right now. I cannot imagine what's going through their minds right now.
We just get to build up the tension ourselves as well.
We're
expecting, a really hard fought map one here, especially, if we look at those preseason patches, we talk about the Killjoy. Killjoy's getting a bunch of buffs as well. Yes. Her lockdown going to have more health. Her Molly's not going to get insta destroyed by a bunch of stuff. Allied damage is going to stop affecting a lot of those extra projectiles that come through. So nonetheless, I am super, super excited to see what will come through. And of course, to see what these team comps are going to look like for this map one, because Ascent is always one of those maps where you have a decent amount of different comps. Some teams will pick up the chamber, some team won't pick up the chamber at all. They'll just take it off the table. They'll take the jet in that place because it can be a very difficult map to play if you don't have that mid control. And basically, you either need chamber or you need jet. And jet's been a little bit better at that recently.
Yeah, even though Jet has received a couple nerfs over time, she is still one of the ultimate space creators in Valorant. That dash into the cloudburst, going to be a tale as old as time, always seems to find ways to be effective, especially due to the fact you can get up to elevated places, use that updraft, try to scout out the area, maybe try to find a pick or two depending on your level of skill there. So that Jet definitely still going to bring a lot of versatility, still going to be one of those top duelists to play, and that's always the interesting thing to see as well. Chamber and Jet, while they're going to give you the same amount of firepower, potentially, Jet, totally different play style. So it's always really cool to see these players that can go from that Sentinel to playing someone like the Raze or the Jet and kind of having that seamless transition. It's super, super interesting to see. Interesting to see if UBC or CSULB, though, are going to have anything in the back pocket we maybe weren't expecting, or no, if they're going to see the same kind of vibe they've been rocking with the entire time.
Exactly. I believe there's a couple of players who are interchangeable between these teams. Definitely going to be curious to see who ends up coming through in that map one. That could influence some of the agent picks as well. And I mean, looking specifically at this map, Ascent, it is a map that UBC is undefeated on. They are 3-0 on this map. So sort of playing into the hand of UBC, who I believe picked this map. On the flip side, CSULB are 3-2. They've had that mixed bag in a lot of ways. But once again, having that, we keep going back to Blissful Deer in this Killjoy because it is exciting to see it come through. It's not an agent that we see a lot of, and it's very likely just going to be that insta lock. It comes out first. We get to see it, and if it just disappoints, then we get it out of the way. We've got it done. But at that point, I expect nothing more than to see a really strong performance on Ascent here. But looking over at this, believe teams are almost ready here. Sorry for all the delays here, but looking at some of these points as well. We actually did a little bit of a questionnaire going down with some of these teams. Get a little bit more background on them. Yeah, and I like to see some of this almost the dichotomy between these two teams. One of the questions that we asked them was sort of like biggest strengths and weaknesses. And something that's really interesting is UBC say their biggest strength is that because they play laid back, they never tilt and they're never really worried about getting far behind. They can go down, 9-0 and be like, no, we can come back. We got this. On the flip side though, CSULB, they say the biggest weakness is taking it a while to get together and just sort of push forward as a team. And that might influence some of these early rounds, especially when UBC is starting on defense. When you've got that Killjoy, which is more of that defensive-sided agent, is that going to influence how quickly you can ramp it up? Are you going to be going in at it from round one, or is it going to take you until halfway through that quarter to sort of get through, maybe round 6, round 7 is where we start to see CSULB turning up, in which case, does that give a little bit too much confidence over to UBC? They're a team, they said themselves, they don't practice that much. Is that going to sort of play into their hand where they can sort of play a little bit more laissez-faire, or will it be a little bit of an earlier ramp up from the side of Long Beach? Are they going to be able to hit it from, round 2, really force UBC's hand in that, right? So, I don't know, very curious to see how the different mindsets come through at that.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the dichotomy of Valorant as a whole. It's a game that kind of like basketball. It's a game that kind of comes and goes and runs. You're going to go on these 6-7 round runs. You have to be able to mentally say, okay, they had the eco advantage. They maybe picked us off a couple of times where maybe could have avoided some of these deaths. You can try to get back into the game here, try to get things ready and go. And then I just have to say the ability to mentally reset, not go on tilt like you said, because the mental part cannot be overstated in a game like this, especially with all this pressure being on both of these teams. They're scared to make mistakes. They realize any mistake they make can be magnified, could end up having greater impact on the series as a whole, potentially the tournament. So they want to make sure, keep everything battened down. And that's one thing that could come from being overly prepared. Although, yeah, again, the tilt thing's still going to be in play as well. But being underprepared or being a little bit laissez-faire, as you said, could definitely be a little bit of a double-edged sword. So you come back, you're going to be laid back. It's all good, just playing Valorant with my buddies. But then when things go wrong and you can't really bust open that playbook and go to those set plays you like, go to those comfort picks, find what you're looking for in that series, things can get a little bit tricky. But hey, that's why it's beautiful. Two teams, different strategies, same spot right now.
Yeah, and it seems as if we should be getting in soon.
Let's go
into game here, right into Agent Select. Now we finally get to see these team comps in action, and as we said, it's going to be UBC starting on that defensive side here. As we mentioned, trying to take away some of those tools from CSULB if they opt for the Killjoy. Something that might be interesting is maybe on attack, they're more willing to go for the chamber in this situation, just because you get a little bit more agency on that offense side. But nonetheless, UBC already locked and loaded. They know exactly what they're going for.
Yeah, they locked in those 5 agents quick, fast, in a hurry. Snap of the fingers, less than 10 seconds into Agent Selector. They know the 5 they're going to go with. Blissful Deer going to be hovering that chamber. Wonder if we see the swap. Cookie hovering the Yoru, actually. Not something that we've seen a whole lot of, especially in this last tournament. Yoru, definitely one of those kind of one-trick characters where you either know him really, really well or you don't. We are going to see the swap over to the Jet. Nothing too surprising. Cookie going to go a little more standard fare that Jet going to be so powerful. And Blissful Deer, because they are starting on that attacking side, going to opt away from that Killjoy and opt into this chamber, going to answer firepower with firepower.
Yeah, and that's a little bit interesting here because we talked all about this Killjoy. Now we don't get to see it, which is a little bit disappointing at that, but it just shows that they've got this strategy sort of in the back pocket that if they're starting on this offensive side, you want a little bit more firepower in that sense. You want to be able to sort of, as you mentioned, match fire with fire, and maybe that will give them a little bit more of an edge. Maybe it's a little bit more of a set play, as we mentioned. You know, this could be something that they were prepared for. They knew that they were most likely going to be on the attacking side for this map if it was picked up, so they wanted to have that sort of fail-safe in place.
Yeah, exactly. Always good to have that backup plan or have that fail-safe. As you said, things can go very, very wrong very early on. You want to make sure you can make those adaptations, make those in-game adjustments, try to get your team back on track. Comes back to that mental boom factor we talked about as well. It seems like Riot Games and mental boom seems to be a hand-in-hand thing. League of Legends and Valorant, those two games people can get a little bit off-key or a little bit off-tilt there, maybe earlier than expected, but we are finally underway. We have the agents locked in. I cannot wait for the start of this game. Pistol round is usually good to give us some kind of exciting fiesta. Everyone gonna play a little bit puggy, but that being said, both these teams now, finally, they had the chance to execute UBC versus CSULB. Loser of this series will be going home.
Yeah, this is always I want to say the most interesting round if we look at it, because it's the most coin flippy round. You know, if you get a good pistol round, you're very likely going to get your bonus round afterwards, and you get out to a little 2-0 lead. But it doesn't, I feel like a lot of strategies here just sort of go out the window. You just look for your frags, you look for whatever you can get, and it really just comes down to who aims better forehead in the first round, really.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, easy. Just aim, ghost headshot, easy. Just 2-click, easy, just like that. Or if you're chamber, you know, pull up that headhunter and find some way to do work. Cookie trying to get some angle held over the midline here. Yams gonna be the one to peek that one. Try to maybe line up some kind of shot here. But both of these teams, I expected to see a little bit slower pace of a pistol round. Cookie, though, gonna get that dash ready and primed to go. Gonna try to swing on Pearson here. Has that fade next to him. Zumi gonna pick up first blood of the series. Pearson gonna trade that one out. Cookie gonna dash away to safety. Couple frags back and forth to start things off.
Yeah, pretty ratty angle there, but actually, I believe that's through the smoke that Kimchi's able to pick up Pearson in return. Like, drop down mid there. You can see sort of rotating around a little bit more of a default setup here, but still 3v3 on this map. Blissful Deer just trying to fire those bullets, and the old chamber nerfs from a while ago leaning more towards this ghost start here. Doesn't have that headhunter in the back pocket, but nonetheless, you can see just holding as many angles as possible. They're going to try and get this plant down onto B site here. They should be able to get that drop down successfully.
Yeah, they're going to take Boathouse controller. They will end up getting this plant down. 3v3, though. Every chance for a retake to come through for UBC here. They still have that KO and that fade. They have some retake capability. That Omen going to be slipping around, trying to find those frags. Suppress, going to come out. Not going to find any value. Back the other way also as well. Yams Now walking up on this left side. 3 of these CSU members waiting and ready to take these shots off. Flash gonna go out there. Looks like it'll be UBC's push. They're gonna grenade back into Boathouse. They're gonna find some tags. Grenade gonna go out there, clear some space out. One left in Boathouse. Now down to a 1v1. Yams versus Blissful Deer. Pros don't fake. Gotta try to stick this defuse. Gonna get that one at 50%. Get off of it. Blissful Deer's gonna find that frag, and first round goes to Long Beach.
Yeah, really well played from Blissful Deer, just biding their time, waiting as long as possible. Really putting the pressure on to Hammer there to just either stick it or face the consequences. And unfortunately, the consequences come true. Blissful Deer going to be able to secure that round up for CSULB. And once again, that does generally mean you are able to transition that potentially into a second round for yourself. But we'll see what UBC has in store here. Always curious to see what sort of ratty strategies they may have on the second round. I saw Shorty, or there is a Shorty there, as well as a Frenzy. So sometimes you just get caught off guard by the fact that they've got slightly different guns than what you're expecting.
Yeah, the Shorty and the Judge are always good to probably catch somebody off surprise for one or two kills. Shorty King's going to be live in a well in this one. Those shotguns, they can be very, very dangerous. It's like the ultimate equalizer. As long as you get close to someone, you're going to be able to make a play with that one. It is going to be this heavy A stack once again. We are going to see a massive lurk from Yams trying to get this early cutoff onto Blissful Deer. Will Deer check the angle. Going to get tagged up. He will end up finding that kill. Bulldog going to stay in the hands of Long Beach. That's going to be a huge opening frag. That KO going to be down as well.
Yeah, and you can see getting entry onto the site. Cookie able to pick up one for themselves. Will get shot down on the flip side, but the gun difference just a little bit too much here. A couple of frags going back the opposite way with some classic headshots, but nonetheless, as expected, going to be able to secure themselves the anti-eco round. Now we get a little bit more of a purchase coming through from the side of UBC. We'll see what they can do with Vandals in their hands.
Yeah, exactly. Now they're going to have some rifles in their hands. They're going to have a little more agency to play around with here. Going to be expending all that economy. Expecting to see Long Beach not really invest anything more than they did last round. I mean, why would you? You're able to take that second round. You still have that Bulldog into one Blissful Deer, who was off to that 3-0 start. Already kind of making our points true earlier about highlighting that player. The rest of Long Beach, though, going to send Cookie onto that Marshall with the Jet. Try to get those early picks, knowing they're probably going to have that weapons disadvantage, trying to steal a couple frags away.
You can see Cookie just trying to line up where that KO knife is expected, but nonetheless, we'll see what they can find here. Still have that Marshall in tow, and always curious to see how these Jets are able to land it. I feel like the Marshall is one of those skill check guns. You see body shot coming down. You either are really good with it and you're able to find the heads, you're able to make it as good as a Vandal, if not better, or sometimes you just miss at that regard too, and Cookie just trying to spray down the wall, try and find as much damage as possible. Getting a lot of info up through mid here at the very least, as the rest of the team sort of lurking up catwalk.
Yeah, I just want to make sure he doesn't give his life away there. Try to get a couple tags, do some information gathering. You don't want to give away the game just too early, though. Now we are down to this last minute of the round. A little bit of a fiesta in mid here from this Long Beach side. Trying to figure out where do we want to bring this spike? What side do we end up wanting to attack? Looks like it is going to be that B preference there. We're going to see Chamber on the back line here, trying to wait up here just outside of market. Trying to line up, see if any members come through. I don't know. He looks like he does know that Long Beach was planning to walk through mid. They're going to take a slow walk over here. It looks like A is going to be where they set their sights on, just playing very, very patiently, though.
And look how brave the KO is here, just standing forward aggressively, knowing that they're moving up through Cat here. 30 seconds left, though. They're going to have to make a move quickly here. Now here comes the pressure. You've got to try and find a play. Flash coming down. Gam's able to find one. Is going to get traded out there as Rainbow able to find one in return, but I don't know, in that smoke. Find another one on Kazomi here. Not a whole lot of time left to plant the spike. You gotta try and push the site as quickly as possible, but Hammer is lurking here. He dropped down. Kimchi's able to find it. Still not a whole lot of time. Rainbow should be able to complete the plant down, but will fall shortly after. At least just Rainbow left. Under hell here. Gotta try and stay alive with what they're worth. I don't know. Trying to find any sort of angle with what they can. In the smoke, it's shut down again. Now it is all down to Rainbow. Do they have the clutch G? That
dark cover, just the only thing separating these two members left alive into that 1v1. Rainbow has done such a good job playing out of this spot, and hell with that paranoid, with that dark cover. Oh, the swing goes the wrong way. Make it 4 for Rainbow and 3 for Long Beach. A beautiful job to play out of heaven, or play out of hell rather, survive that chamber assault, land a picture-perfect paranoia, drop that dark cover, and just ride that thing out. That is a beautiful round from Long Beach.
Just so clean at the end of the day. They're able to hold their ground in Rainbow. One of those players that we weren't able to highlight as much from the get-go, but just showing that they've still got that dog in them, finding a 4K to clear out that round. And now, See the economies on the flip side. Gonna have to save once more, a little bit more in the inventory with those sheriffs, which can always come through and be sort of that skill check gun in a lot of ways, but nonetheless, always good to sort of get that third round, get your bonus going, and now get your economy in a really good spot if you're CSULB.
Yeah, they looked for that early raise fade combo. Wasn't going to find that though. Blissful Deer taking that rendezvous. Going to take that thing out of here. Going to abuse it as much as he can before it's gone. Yams with that sheriff, just like you said, being that skill check weapon. Going to pick up that kill onto Cookie. Luckily for UBC rather, that Vandal or that gun is going to stay in the middle area where it should be safe for the time being. Long Beach rather. Down to a 4v3. I don't know. Gonna pick up that kill. Sheriff v Sheriff Crime. That Headhunter just too damn strong in his hands. And now it is going to be a 5v3 Long Beach, trying to find some way to formulate a plan to, you know, kind of at least get through this round now.
Yeah, the beach may be long, but also they gotta try and take their time here. Take the long road in a sense. Look at where the Omen is set up here. Hammer just sort of camped out here in Wine, trying to catch anyone lurking. Rainbow seems to have an inkling of a feeling here, but nonetheless doesn't really want to check that out. Hammer gonna drop a couple of shots, but still so dangerous every single time. Don't have the firepower to back it up.
Yeah, gonna use a great job in that shrouded step to get out of dodge there. We're gonna see that null command come through as well. Long Beach trying to make heads or tails of this 3v5. Knowing what the economy is like right now, Rainbow gonna be the first one in there. Looks like they're gonna try to swing off this dark cover. He's gonna have KO shoulder to shoulder, trying to find the play here. They're gonna get tagged up. That's gonna be a whole lot of info going over. Perfect fade to K. Hammer gonna find that kill with the sheriff. It is a sheriff party for UBC. A thrifty and a flawless one. What a move.
Economies just didn't matter in that situation. It's one of those rounds where you say, surely Long Beach have that, but the aim difference there coming through, you see all those sheriffs coming down, and we talked about it off the top, Job, and all comes down to just whether you're able to hit that head. You're able to find those headshots on just unsuspecting members there. You're going to end up winning out on that duel. Sometimes the Vandal can be a little bit harder to sort of control in that regard, but now look across at the buy. An operator already coming down for, I don't know, all threes across the board here. You can see UBC, a 5-headed force here thus far. Everyone contributing, and now CSULB going to be in a little bit of a tough situation themselves because this operator can be so
Yeah,
devastating.
we are going to see that Blade Storm get popped out in retaliation, though. Pearson trying to work out of market with these paint shells. That Blade Storm waiting on that back line. They're going to dash on the site, trying to get that market door closed. Comboed up in market, though. Blissful there picks up that kill on the Pearson. Now it is into a 5v4 Long Beach with that advantage. They still have the Blade Storm, but Ayuk has other ideas, picking up a pair. Kimchi going to trade him out with that Sheriff, and there's that Blade Storm. Cookie putting in work, picking up that double kill. Now, all on, I don't know, all on the operator. What is his play going to be? That Jet still has knives in that back pocket. Do you play for the save, or do you try to at least find one frag first?
And it seems like, I don't know, is going to have to know exactly where to look here. Just trying to roam around, find the correct angle. At the same time, you can see how safe CSULB are playing this one. All playing through Boathouse here and just taking their time. They don't want to risk getting picked off by this chamber here. On the flip side, though, you gotta just try and save as much as possible. Just even throwing down the teleporter is gonna try and find a pick, but fortunately on the wrong side of the map, not really gonna be a situation you're gonna be fond of here if you are UBC. And we talked about if CSULB are gonna be able to come out all guns blazing, and thus far, for the first 5 rounds going their way, it seems as if they didn't need that ramp up time. They are hot from the get-go.
Yeah, seems like they were racked and ready to go. We're gonna see back-to-back thrifties. Not something you see all too much in Valorant, but nonetheless, that just shows how both of these teams can figure things out on that economy. We saw the thrifty flawless coming through for UBC, being their one round, and you know Long Beach wanted to have that one back. That round felt like a little bit of revenge, a little bit of retaliation, using that Blade Storm beautifully. Cookie picking up that double kill, kind of helping clear things out. Noob, though, really did a great job trying to lock down that site, picked up a pair for himself as well. Now, I don't know, still gonna have that operator in hand. The economy gonna be looking a little bit worse for wear for UBC. They're gonna have a decent buy this round. Next round is gonna be the interesting one. I don't know, looking to find this entry frag.
It really just comes down to if you can find that first op shot. And on the flip side, if the Omen can just drop down that smoke and nullify you at that, it's going to be so difficult for the chamber to find any sort of angles, and yet still working up slowly through mid here. Such an aggressive angle if they're able to find the timing on it, but Cookie now trying to find entry all the way through tree already, and gets right past 2 UBC members, and now A-site so bare. It's going to be a quick pickup. Rainbow able to find one off screen as well, and now 5v3 situation, but on the side, Yams going to be shut down with that KO ultimate active. I don't know, going to be taken down as well, and now it is all down to Pearson. Gonna find that res coming through, but it is still a 2v4. Not an ideal situation for the side of UBC, even with the match fire.
Yeah, the silver lining is they do get that res off Pearson. Maybe if he can find a kill with this boombot or the paint shells, we see some kind of wacky showstopper play. It's going to be a very tall order, though. Yams trying to work out of heaven here. Gets spotted up by Kimchi. He is going to fall. Now, all on Pearson. Cookie says no mas to him. That'll be 4 alive for Long Beach and 5 on the board.
What a great round from Long Beach. They just took the timing to the maximum there, just tossing down those jet smokes, sort of acting as a second Omen in a way, giving herself cover to get onto site, find her one, and then from there, 2 members in tree were just left between a jet and a hard place realistically, the 3 other members just backing them up. And you can see the different strategies already coming through from this side of Long Beach. They've got lots in the inventory. They want to try and use as many strategies as possible to get as many rounds on attack here, because realistically, we talked about how they've got that pocket pick Killjoy in the back. They're not picking it up here. They're trying to show that this chamber on offense is a force to be reckoned with. And that it's still not going to be a slouch on defense. They're trying to get as many rounds on attack.
Yeah, I mean, listen, until those nerfs come in, Chamber, if you could argue he'd pick him on any single map pretty much. And you're probably going to make a decent argument one way or the other. We are going to see Tour de Force get popped for that UBC side, trying to be that great equalizer, as I love to call it. It can just change the momentum of a round of a game on its head. And UBC looking to try to find some way to build back into this game slowly but surely. Looks like it's going to be a B stack from this time from Long Beach. And this is what we said. They like to play off both these different sides. Oh, that Tour de Force still going to be a little bit too much for Cookie. They're going to shut down that entry fragger, and they're going to slow this push to a halt.
Yeah, and with 4 members stacked up here, it gives so much space on the map for UBC to take control. And you can see where this KO is moving, just trying to lurk down all the way into almost gelato there, taking so much space for themselves, and they know that they've got to try and cut off as many options. Now, it's really just down to a B long or mid here, and they're walking up through Cat. Little do they know the trap has been set. Hammer laying in wait there on that Omen. The raise on the opposite side from Pearson as well, but gotta be careful. Nightfall gonna come down, and now here comes
this is when the good stuff starts. That Nightfall gonna go through. Looks like Long Beach gonna try to make this push. Backside of tree. Showstopper comes online. Fires it into the tree. Make it play for Pearson. Shutting down Long Beach so they stand. And why not a thrifty to boot? Tour de Force. What a showstopper. 3K in tree. Easy work for UBC.
Until then, survive.
Oh my goodness, what an angle found by Pearson there, and it all comes down to the beginning of that round. They found a push in through B. They were all stacked up. They thought they had the read, but I don't know, on that chamber, able to find that one pick that sort of makes them question, but it all was playing into UBC's hands. They play up towards Catwalk with Pearson in a great place, a great angle. Able to find 3 kills with that one. Just a mega ultimate coming through from that raise. And now UBC need to take that and use that momentum to push forward.
Nothing more satisfying than seeing a massive showstopper play like that. The second that rocket launcher comes out and Raze asks who wants to party, you know something big is about to go down, and something big came down indeed. That 3K gonna give UBC a little bit of life that they were looking for, try to build them back into this game. And I mean, look, at 7 rounds in, we've already had three thrifties as well. Wow, that was a tongue twister. But both of these teams, you can see, they're doing, yeah, exactly. I'm done with that one. But Cookie trying to take market control here, going to back off of this dark cover. Once again, Long Beach, they love to play the slow game, which worked out great for them a couple of times. But when you get that slow pace going, you tend to group up a little bit, and those ultimates can be that ultimate space creator.
Yeah, Long Beach playing the long game makes sense, and UBC playing the we gotta get back in this game at this point. I don't know, they're going to be able to find a pick for themselves with that operator. Trying to just hold this A site down for the time being. Not going to find too much, but Cookie finding another kill for themselves, finds the second one, and now they've gotten access onto the site. Yam's able to trade one back. Gonna be difficult here, though. Spike is down. All these angles gonna be so difficult. Blissful Deer able to find one. Yam's still won a 3K. Now it's all up to Blissful Deer to clutch this one.
Yeah, Yam's finding 2 huge kills there for UBC now into this 2v1 all on Blissful Deer. Short angle being held. Deer finds the first kill onto Noob. 30 HP on Yam's. Gonna send that pop flash. Not gonna be good enough. Blissful Deer reads it like a book. They're going to shut that round down. They're going to get this plant, put some money in his back pocket. He's going to have that Tour de Force ready to go as well in Long Beach. They're going to take that round over. Blissful Deer, though, that running 2-hit he got into heaven was absolutely superb.
Really well played from even Cookie, trying to find space onto that site. On the flip side,
as they can right now. They've had such a good back and forth, but right now, UBC still trying to find some way back into this game that doesn't involve them hitting a thrifty.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a difficult uphill road at that. You know, Long Beach, they've got their 6 on the attacking side, and if we're being real, it's a very even map on Ascent. You know, you want to try and keep it as even as possible, and that's exactly, at least for the most part, Long Beach, on the other hand, have been able to find their 6 and maybe pushing forward towards 7, and now it just comes down to those economies. We see a decent buy coming through from the side of UBC this time around, but even then, not going to be the easiest of situation. The raise combo not quite going to land. Already found so much access onto the site. The op shot just not landing at this point, but Pearson on site already finds one. Gonna be shut down on the flip side. Hammer gets another one for the trouble.
Yeah, I don't know, with that operator still doing work. UBC, 3 members left alive here. Hammer up in Boathouse here, trying to get that angle over onto Kimchi. Little pre-firing back and forth. Kimchi, though, on the very positive end of this one. Down to 8 and down to 0. Kimchi finds that kill. Oh, I don't know, a perfectly placed flash. Had that jet in his crosshair. Did not find the kill. Flick shot not going to be there as well. Trying to swing on the backside of this site. Now that plant came through for Long Beach. They're going to try to play some defense here. KO and Jet versus KO and Chamber. Lots of firepower. Null Command coming through as well. I don't know, getting a huge kill. Swapping to that Vandal. Going to be a lot better for this mid-range engagement now. I don't know. Trying to find the swing. He will. That Null Command goes to none. Yam's going to find that defuse, and UBC going to find number 3.
Yeah, really well played round once again, and it all comes off of the back of Yams. Such a strong member thus far in this series. You know, 9 rounds in, we've seen a couple of clutches already coming through from Yams in that regard. And of course, I don't know, on this Chamber, able to find that aim, win those aim duels a lot of the times. It just comes down to the momentum here. UBC able to pick up a couple more rounds here. If they can do some more lasting damage to the economy, specifically this round, if they're able to find a victory, they're going to be able to push that forward here, potentially to a 5th round and maybe even the half for themselves. And if you can get 6-6 after a really slow start here, you're going to be feeling pretty good if you're UBC.
Especially after having to get thrifties to end up taking those rounds. You're going to feel better now that things are starting to, substantiate a little bit more. You're finding that consistent flow of success. You're able to get in, get out of these rounds, and not escaping without too much damage being done as well. I'm going to word that one. Oh, awful shot to Rendezvous. I don't know. Doing absolute work on this operator so far. Going to make things nightmarish for Long Beach.
Oh my goodness. You expect the Fade to be throwing out the nightmares at this point, but it's Chamber instead, just able to find that one shot. And now Blissful Deer getting so much space up through B main once again. This was a round that really sort of turned the tides last time around when they pushed through here, and the operator is on that flip side. I don't know, is already moved over, looking for the angle, but with 4 members stacked up here in B main here. Going to be an incredibly difficult push forward, especially, I don't know, if he lands that shot, that would have been a different story.
That's unlucky timing. Pearson, though, going to find the timing on that one. Dropping off Blissful Deer. 3 members still stacked up in this garage, trying to find some angle to push, but it's very, very tricky trying to push when it is that 3v5, especially when that Fade and that KO are still alive. Kind of able to play that slow game, try to stall out this push as best as possible, and I don't know, is ready and waiting in the middle with the op. Making it 3 on the round. Double kill with that operator. He's going to try to swing and maybe find this last kill. All on Kazumi. That is a beautiful paranoia to find him out, and Yams is going to swing backside for that kill. That was excellent work by UBC. Look at that teamwork, that coordination finally coming together in a big way.
Fulfill my purpose.
Maybe Chamber doesn't want to work at McDonald's later. Maybe he's going to go to Popeyes because he just served up a 3-piece there with that one. Great player from, I don't know, to be able to get that, just control that round from the get-go for the side of UBC, and that's really what is setting the pace. And once again, as we talked about, that economy going to be in a little bit of a rough situation now. Very curious to see if they'll be able to turn this one out in their favor, because now CSULB need to try and find another thrifty for themselves, which is a tall ask at the best of times. But of course, the trend that has been set is not necessarily going to be in favor of UBC with how many thrifties we've had, but still shutting down that tour de force to open us up. Great way for them, and that KO knife, just moving it around the map, clearing out as much space as possible, has been incredible.
Yeah, it at least gives you that 5 seconds to breathe at the start of the round when you're like, okay, we know that tour de force is somewhere in the map. We do not want to get caught up in mid here, especially if, I don't know, ends up dropping that operator somehow. We see that tour de force and the Blade Storm going to be online for Long Beach, though. They do not want to consider this one a thrifty on their end. They have a lot of firepower. Let's see what way they try to utilize it right now. Once again, playing that slow game in the middle area, trying to do some information collection right now. UBC not showing their hand whatsoever. A couple members stacked up toward that A side, trying to play in case this KO. Kimchi decides to get a little bit too aggressive, trying to find that cheeky little off angle with the Sheriff. Looks like he might have got spotted out there. Maybe some audio cues, but so far, neither team blinking.
I think definitely got spotted out. I don't know, going to be able to find that kill. Might have just been a robot toe sticking out. That was the cue for, I don't know, to hold or line. But Cookie, as the knives out still, you've still got a little bit of combat power left. Moving forward aggressively here. But even in these Omen smokes, it's so difficult to push forward, especially when you don't know the exact angle. they're holding here. And now, I don't know, moved onto site with this operator. They're trying to get cover with this Omen ult, but look at where the chamber's moving. So tense here on this A side.
So many members in that dark cover. I don't know if he only knew. Oh, double kill for Hammer. Oh, and I don't know on the backside. Hammer with the 3-piece. I don't know, finishing off that job. That is a flawless for UBC. They are really starting to put things together. Now, we are first round, 1 round away from halftime. Tour de Force and that null command going to be in the back pocket for UBC. Rainbow just sitting alone on that Omen ultimate. No other ultimates are going to be around to help out Long Beach. UBC, they have fought back in this game. Look at, I don't know, 14-5. I do not think he got taken off that operator since he bought it.
Yeah, I don't know if he got taken off the operator, but all I know is that he's been popping off at that, and now he's got so many guns in the back pocket. 8 shots in the head, Hunter got the Tour de Force, got the Vandal, got the operator winning in base. He can miss that one from time to time, but still so close there. Blissful Deer, though, going to be able to trade one back onto Pearson there. That's a good opening for the side of Long Beach. They need to find these picks for themselves and then push their numbers up.
And they're going to do just that. Cookie going to find that frag. This is a low HP on the side of Long Beach, so a couple of these members going to be 1 or 2 bullets away from falling. Rendezvous hit by, I don't know, beautiful off-angle entry. Hammer going to pick up that kill onto Cookie. Now it's going to be Long Beach trying to get this push in onto A. Dark cover going to go out there. Hammer once again sitting in this dark cover in the shadow of tree. I don't know when that Tour de Force going to find one before he gets taken down. Hammer still doing work on the Omen. Why not a 3K? Make it 4 on the round, and UBC has locked things up at 6s going into the second half.
Stealing sight.
Oh my goodness, what a turnaround from UBC. They're able to turn all of our expectations on our head, and we said this team, they don't really mind if they fall behind. They're one of those teams very laissez-faire. They'll be able to get back into it, and it seems as if they just turn it up a notch in that last third of the half there. On the flip side, you know, we talked about CSULB being that team that comes out and maybe takes a couple of rounds to find their groove, and I think they were able to find their groove early. Maybe it was just an opposite day there with CSULB now dropping those last 4 rounds. The momentum definitely going in UBC's favor, and I think Long Beach need to turn their fates in their favor. Once again, with the change in sides, might be exactly what they need. Of course, without that Killjoy now, might be a little bit of a difficult hold. Nonetheless, if UBC were able to hold 6 rounds without the Killjoy, I'm sure that Long Beach can do the same.
Yeah, that makes UBC's half almost more impressive in a way. They almost had to win those 2 or 3 thrifties to kind of stay in the game, but then they're able to snowball that into so many successful rounds. We see a lot of teams maybe find that thrifty and then kind of fall off the next 2 rounds. They put their foot on that gas pedal. They show they are confident. Maybe get off that early game rust as well. You never know, right? These teams get into the server. Might take them a couple rounds to kind of get their bearings, get their feet under them, maybe make a read on the enemy team. Now that we are in that second half, though, most of these reads should have been made. This pistol round going to be a lot slower than that first one around. Both these teams waiting to see if they can find that easy kill and then send that 5-stack running.
And effectively, it's tabula rasa, except with half the rounds left here. You know, 6-6, just 8, but nonetheless, Hammer tried to get a little bit cheeky with the jump and headshots, but traded back immediately here. Now over towards this A site they march. Should be able to secure the site for themselves, at least get the plant, and now it's going to be full retake for the side of Long Beach.
And now it's going to be a skill problem at this point. Who can land more pistol headshots? UBC going to be at that small disadvantage, so 3 members, or actually rather, Long Beach going to be at that small disadvantage. iNoob getting that haunt ready to go, trying to get this information spotted. Toss is going to come in, going to tag up a couple members there. That is a beautiful flash as well. Pearson going to find one and kill Cookie on that Sheriff, though. Going to answer back with the wall bang. Now, 3v2, this spike timer getting dangerously low. Blissful Deer trying to peek out of tree here. That's going to be a fantastic shot by iNoob, and I don't know to link up. Yams finishing things off. That's going to be a 7-6 lead.
Just great angles being held by the side of UBC. They know exactly where they need to be placed. Now already aggressive Vandal purchase coming through from, I don't know, 16-6 on this chamber. Definitely showing up. Probably a little bit miffed that we didn't give them the player card at the beginning and showing up already on this one. And yeah, you know what? Our bad. We messed up in that situation nonetheless. Great showing here in the last, I want to say 5-6 rounds. They've really been able to turn it up. Even now, got to see what sort of strategies the side of Long Beach are going to pull out, because they've got to do something different. They got to switch it up here, because thus far they've been absolutely solid for the last 5-6 rounds.
Yeah, you actually nailed it. UBC taking the last 5 rounds in a row, and Yams picking up where they left off. Walking the kitchen, Yams everywhere. 3 kills for him. Pearson going to find that 4th one now. 5v1, Blissful Deer looking around like, what happened to my team? Is going to find that kill with the Headhunter. Going to take out Pearson in that middle area, but he has the weight of the world on his shoulders right now. A classic Headhunter and a very, very, very distant dream. The plant is going to come through here. UBC completely going to lock down this site, and this round going to be as good as dead.
Yeah, effectively, you've got a classic of versus the world here. Angles being held everywhere. Inub just going to be able to find a nice cheeky headshot from behind. And a nice round pick up there. They're able to convert once again on their anti-eco. This is the round, if any. CSULB need to switch it back in their favor. They've got the gun advantage now. They need to take it to town. Even then, though, look, it's 4 Vandals on the opposite side. This is barely an equal, or this is an equal buy at that. You know, really just a Bulldog on Inub's hands. And it's not quite the bonus that they were looking for. Not quite, you know, a bunch of Spectres, a Marshal, maybe a Judge thrown in there. It's a full buy effectively coming through from the side of UBC from last round. And they just look to continue this momentum they've got going for themselves because this game has been flipped on its head.
Oh, that boom pot! Gonna trigger out that rendezvous from Blissful Deer Kazumi. Maybe trying to peek on that backside. And yeah, the economy of UBC in a pretty healthy state considering how early we are in the half. So I don't hate this idea of busting out the Vandals because the momentum they have right now, taking 6 in a row, they've got to think they have Long Beach's number. Pearson, not gonna find that kill, but Hammer, who else? Picking up that double kill, gonna make up for his teammate falling off there. That's gonna be a great play out of UBC. They're gonna go recover this spike. He's gonna take that long stroll over to the A side, where they're gonna end up trying to execute this push. But once again, getting that early 2-for-1 gonna spell such great news for UBC.
And I love how UBC trade out their members as well. You know, Pearson getting extremely aggressive, but you've got Hammer as the backup there, always willing to be there for your teammate. You know, the solo queue dream in a lot of ways to get traded out by your teammates, but in this situation, you know, able to pick up an extra one at that. And now already pushing towards it, this A site door closed, and now once again 4v3 retake opportunity here for Long Beach. They've got to make it happen though, because this round I think really will take away that momentum if they're able to pick this one up. If not, they're in dire straits.
8-7's a whole lot better than 9-6 when you would have lost 7 in a row at that point. They're looking to have this one. Oh, dropping the Hammer though, finding his 3rd of the round. Cookie gonna be the victim there. Now one of more of these members getting tagged down very low in tree. See this 3 stack and held these members, just as you said, they're ready to trade each other out, and they will not even need to worry about the trades. They're gonna find a couple of clean picks over there in tree, and they're gonna take their 7th round in a row. They have completely captured this game as for the time being, and we are finally going to see that tactical timeout, I'm guessing coming from that Long Beach side. They got to bust open the books and see what the heck went wrong.
And realistically, this is as good as time as any to sort of bust it out here. At the half, you know, not really worried about it. 6-6, hey, we got this, we're going back, but you lose 3 rounds in a row, especially when you were on those even buys there. It's going to be really difficult to get back into this because you're looking at the economies. It's a whole bunch of nothing for the side of Long Beach right now. Maybe we'll see a Battle Slayer come through on Kazumi. Maybe we'll see something crazy come through if they want to try and force and save themselves a little bit. Right now, it has been a massive turnaround in this game. 7 rounds in a row, like you're saying, for the side of UBC. And my goodness, on the comeback kids at this point, because 6-2 to 9-6, not what we expected.
And seem to be optional. Almost every single one of these rounds this game has come down to just ending up eating in those frags. That spike not seeing as much action as it probably would like, but I know for the side of UBC, they wouldn't have this game any other way. 4 members in double-digit kills already, and I knew just on the cusp they're playing that fade as well. So you can clearly see, although I don't know has that flashy 17-6 courtesy of that operator, the rest of the team has filled out beautifully, and any slow start they might have had, they've shaken that one off well by now, and they know they're in the driver's seat.
And once again, it might just be them feeling it out for the first 8 rounds or so, saying, hey, you know what? Let's see what this team is going to pull out, try and get a read on them. And since then, they've just been on a tear here. And it hasn't just been, you know, close rounds. It hasn't been 7 close rounds in a row. It's been almost flawless. It's been, you know, 4 members up. You don't really need the clutch gene in that situation. You've just got more numbers at the end of every single round. And thus far, it's been massive turnaround, a mega performance, and Hammer already just finding picks at the beginning of rounds here. You can see how much mid control they're trying to garner for themselves, and Yams has been able to just find kills at will, it feels like, every single time. Just if he wants to, he'll drop a 3.
Exactly. That's the thing. We've seen so many kills in so many bunches this last match as well. So many times we see a random double, triple spray come through. It's all about that positioning. It's all about that timing. UBC going to lead this spike back in that spawn. They're going to send Pearson to retrieve this one. Maybe they have an idea where they want to send this execute. That middle presence, as you stated as well, is so crucial to take control of that middle area to try to distribute either to market B side or swing around that backside of A through heaven. Looks like UBC going to prefer this B side push for the time being. They're going to send that Lone Ranger Yams, I believe, over there to that A side. Try to see if he can get any bait, any info. A completely empty right now. Looks like Long Beach have a pretty good read on where they are. Whoa!
They're going to be able to get the shorty kill. And actually, Frenzy kill the opposite way, but Hammer, once again there, being that security measure every single time. Finds a 3K, but is shut down once again. Yems, though, fighting and remain there. Going to be able to secure that one up for themselves. And now Inoob going to find that plant all down to Kimchi. Can they find this one? This is a very winnable 1v2 if we're being real. Yams does not have a lot of health. If they're able to pick up a Vandal for themselves, yep, there's the pickup. They might be able to turn this one back around, but Inoob knows exactly where they are, just holding their ground, and now it just comes down to your clutch.
Yeah, I think there is a couple rifles over on that left side. Kimchi might be able to find himself an upgrade here, but the only thing is, time is not his friend. He is going to recover that Vandal. 10 shots in the clip here. Can he make something happen? Trying to bait out this timing. It's so difficult to guess where this angle's going to be.
No.
Behind the boxes, though, he does not clear things out. Gonna try to get this half defused. Gonna try to stick this one out. Inoob, though, playing it like a fiddle, reading it beautifully. Double digits for UBC. They are up to 8, counted 8 rounds in a row. They cannot be stopped right now.
And if you want to see how confident UBC are, look at those inventories. Double operator, or that's actually CSULB on the flip side. They're trying to force something down here. That's double operator. Wow, that is a lot of confidence here, and I think they're definitely it's going to be switched out there. If they went for it, it would have just been sort of their all-in play. They're going all in. They're trying to secure this game out for themselves. On the flip side, though, UBC just holding serve time and time again, able to find so many rounds in a row, and this will deal with this operator finally in their hands. This is an important round. You gotta make this operator worth it.
Yeah, losing the operator at this stage of the game is honestly like shooting yourself in the foot, especially when the other team is on double digits. We always say, once you get to that double-digit mark in Valorant, you start to show the edge. 1 or 2 missed rounds, you're looking at winning this game out, taking this map over. Especially CSULB had that huge lead. You know the pressure has got to be mounting on their shoulders now. They know it's now or never to try to mount this comeback, and they're gonna have to find value out of this operator. It is an absolute necessity at this point.
They have to, and thus far, no one's even there. You know, knock knock, who's home? No, absolutely no one. They're all towards this A site. Cookie gonna be trying to push up here. Oh, Yams with that trigger discipline, still able to find it on the recalibrate there. Now here comes the execute. Already 2 picks, 3 picks, and UBC, they've read this like a book already onto the site here. 4v2 situation as Kazumi's able to trade it back out, but still health bar low on the fade. Chamber with that ultimate, not great at retaking, and even still, you can see they're just potentially opting to save this round.
Yeah, that might not be the worst idea in the world. Kazumi going to be tagged down very, very low, and then that Chamber as well going to be full health, but Long Beach, best course of action will be to take that save. It's always that tricky call, but realistically, 4 fully healthy members of UBC are probably not going to win this retake. Blissful Deer, though, playing for that exit frag. That is going to be a massive kill in the way things play out the rest of this game. Yams finding his 3rd of the round, dropping that operator in no man's land. That's not going to be gettable by this side of Kazumi here. He's trying to survive the rest of this round. Yams is out for blood right now. Has 1 more swing to make. 30 HP. Kazumi is going to find that first kill. Trying to send that Prowler out to get some advantage there. Hot going to come through. Not going to be enough, though. All weapons down. That is massive for UBC. And I love that they went on the offensive knowing they had such a huge advantage in that round.
I may have jammed my fingers.
They've got the money as well. They can just
rich.
take it without any worry at that. Now, you've got the operator on the offense here. I don't know, has been so good with that on the defense, especially that last half. And now just going to be taking it into their own hands. Peek and mid, not suggested, and even still, this Chamber has just been so strong. Both sides have had really strong performances out of the Chamber. It's just that the rest of UBC able to supplement that. Everyone in those double-digit frags now, and everyone's just chipping in at some point. Off versus off here. Blissful Deer, though, still going to win it out.
Yeah, that is a massive win. That Bladestorm is online for Long Beach as well. They're going to have to invest a lot into this round. You cannot afford to let UBC go over to that 12 number. Also, you have to break this run of UBC rounds. We keep counting them up. They're up to 9 now, believe it or not. Long Beach, they have to dig their heels in and say, you will not push us around anymore. Finding that first kill is going to do them wonders. But now Rainbow in a very tricky spot here. Both members trying to eye him out. That KO nade in a beautiful spot. Tagged down to 1 HP. That is going to be a very, very low health Omen. Yams going to ride out that opposite KO nade. Both these teams waiting for someone to make that first push, and things are going to break loose.
And they can just vibe out in the smoke for the time being. They've got the man advantage right now. They've got time on their side, and they've got the read on where everyone is as well. Everyone, once again, moving over towards this A site. Jet starting to rotate back around, getting a little bit suspicious of the lack of noise coming down. Good knife going to come back, but Yams dropping that null command. They want to execute onto this site. Rainbow going to find one. Hammer trades it back. Kimchi hide behind that generator. Going to be able to find one as well, but it's only on to the KO. Judge going to be able to lay it down the damage as well. It's a A little bit of an interesting situation for the side of UBC. Hammer should be able to get this spike down. Still 3v1. Even gonna invest a Nightfall into it. That will finally be the momentum taken out. Long Beach able to get around back. Will not let the streak hit double
Yeah, and the good thing for Long Beach, although it was a heavy investment of those ultimates, they only had to use the Blade Storm and they only had to use the Nightfall. You kept the Null Command in the back pocket. You at least got that Null Command out of the side of Long Beach. So you're gonna trade 1-for-1 ultimates there essentially in the end of it. They're definitely gonna be happy with that round. Honestly, it was a round they felt like they had to have. That's why we saw such the heavy investment. You let UBC go over to 12 with that momentum. Who knows how things are gonna shake out? You're kind of playing a coin flip of the ultimate game at that point. They do not want to let it get to that point. Blissful Deer back on this operator, gonna have to try to make a play. This economy of Long Beach still going to be in a very, very tricky spot, though. If they were to lose this round, I'm not exactly sure what that win condition would be. They would have to go absolutely crazy, though.
And once again, once you hit 11, you have so much confidence. You know, the goal is just to get to that 13. You don't want to even give the chance of overtime at that. Ultimates going down aplenty. Pearson already finding one for themselves. I know it's pushed so far forward onto this site. Just got to clear this boathouse as well, but Pearson's already in the backline. He's in their walls. Already pushed forward into ZT, and this is going to be a very difficult situation. Granted, it's going to be a full retake once again. 4 members this time trying to push forward onto B, but firepower might just be a little bit too much.
I love that adaptation from UBC to just absolutely send it the second they got that first pick. We've seen pretty much this entire game. They find that first frag, they play the patience game. I don't know. Perfectly timed up, taking out Cookie now into this 5v3. Null Command still going to be active for a little while longer. Yams going to have to be the one to find some way. Blissful Deer on the operator. Good for 1. Not going to be good for any more. That's going to be 4 members of UBC picking up kills in that round. They're going to be moved over to map point here. Tour de Force going to be there for Blissful Deer to try to keep this game in tow, but ultimately that economy not going to be looking. They will be able to get a couple rifles, it looks like, if they spread the wealth around a little bit, but that is going to be a pretty tricky buy nonetheless. In UBC, they have that full armory at their disposal.
Yeah, Blissful Deer just handing out the stimulus checks there, saying, hey, you get a rifle, just trying to make anything happen at this point. But even still, it all comes down to this. Long Beach need to try and hold the line here. We talked about how UBC were undefeated on Ascent, looking to keep that trend alive, and thus far, it's shown exactly why that is the case. Their strategies have been absolutely spectacular. Every single step of the way, they've always had some sort of counter for what Long Beach have been able to pull out, and already onto this A site, finding picks for themselves. Rainbow gets a nice paranoia down with the Judge, gonna lay down the damage, but Yams has already found 2 for himself.
Oh!
Trying to find a 3rd. That's already secured.
Rainbow with a little nifty TP there, unfortunately not going to work out in his favor. He tried, man. As an Omen player, I love to see plays like that. You know, sometimes it's going to work out for you. You got, you know, and they're in that position where they feel like they have to start making these insane plays. Tour de Force online. The K is going to go through, get those 2 Long Beach members backed off, though. This is going to be a very tricky retake, especially with that Tour de Force in such close range. Hemmer playing this backline very, very safe. They're just going to try to wait out this timer. They know the spike is their friend. They're waiting on this timer. Blissful Deer in the corner. All going to be on him. Wall bang for Hemmer. Why not 3 in the round? A couple of headshots to boot, and UBC is going to walk away with a map 1 win. They went on an 11-1 run to close out that map.
Just incredible turnaround at that. We were talking from the get-go. Long Beach is going to be the team that takes a little while to ramp up. We might have swapped the notes or something there, because it seemed as if UBC were just biding their time. They were waiting to scale up a little bit. Once round 9 hit, they said, you know what? It's our time to shine, and pedal to the metal from there. Just a fantastic turnaround there. And I think, I don't know, really carrying the weight in a lot of ways. And overall, it's just, I'm curious as to how Long Beach are feeling after that one, because that's a really tough way to go down, especially in a map 1. You know, you had that lead, you felt secure in it. All of a sudden, all falls to waste just like that. And it didn't seem as if Long Beach really played worse at that. It's just UBC turned it up.
Yeah, I think we saw Hemmer over 300 ACS there. We saw so many, the team play as well. We saw every single member of UBC got into double digits. Not something you're going to see in a lot of these games, especially when some of those characters maybe playing that controller, maybe IGLing, not as focused on fragging out, but UBC, we called all those players' names at least one time throughout that map. And honestly, being down 6-2 and winning 13-7, you're going to be feeling damn good about that one. But with that being said, we're going to throw it to a very, very quick break. Let Long Beach and UBC get a quick little reset here. We will be back after the break for map 2.